So despite my diligent studying, there's a clear reason why I never ace any of my in-class exam. And this is because Anki was wrecking my grade. Hi guys, it's your boy Tin Chu, currently a 4th year medical student. Today I'm going to talk about why Anki is raking your grade. Let's get into it. A little bit of background, I was a religious Anki user for the past 4 years. And I'm still using it right now, even after I finished my step 1 and step 2. I'm still doing it daily, keeping up my streak. I was one of those students that was more focused on studying and preparing for the board exam for step 1 during my first 2 years of medical school. I didn't really focus much on the school lectures and the PowerPoints. I solely did, boards and beyond, sketchy, the holy grail of step 1 studying. So after every exam, while most of my classmates would go out to, party and drink at the bar and, get dinner and have fun, I would still, maybe grab a little bit of something to eat, but I would still try to finish my Anki cards for that day, even after I took the exam. And I remember it was horrible. It was I remember going to the club with the friends at night, and I was still doing Anki on my phone as we were at the club, like dancing and doing my phone while we're eating. It was rough. The grind never stopped for me. Every single day, even after exams. So despite my diligent studying, there's a clear reason why I never ace any of my in-class exam. And this is because Anki was wrecking my grade. So just the biggest problem when you actually sit down and think about it is just you spend less time studying for new materials than other people, than your fellow classmates, right? So just imagine you have you yourself who's an Anki user, and you have your fellow classmate, let's name him Bob, who is not an Anki user. And you both have 10 hours a day to study, 6 days a week. Okay, just making up round numbers is easier to follow. And Bob spends a whole 10 hours every single day studying for the new materials in class. So that's 60 hours a week that he studied for the new materials in class. While you spend 8 hours for the studying in-class material, and you have to spend the other 2 hours of your day reviewing your Anki cards from previous exams. So over the week, Bob will have spent 60 hours on new material, while you only spend 48 hours on it. Now, assuming that you have an exam every 4 weeks, so by the time you both walk into the exam, you will have spent 48 hours less than Bob studying for the in-class exam. And 40 hours is a lot. That's a lot of materials and time that you can spend on the in-class material, doing more questions, doing more reviews. So that's one of the biggest problems. And then the second problem that you will run into is that the material that you're recovering is not heavily weighted, or it's not even, doesn't really show up in the exam. So for my school, all of our exams were technically cumulative, so they say that there's going to be stuff from the previous exam that shows up on the new with the new materials for the current blocks that we're studying. So the problem is a lot of the in-class exam, they don't really cover board-specific materials, and what I was using to study, was more high-yield, like board-specific step 1 materials from either first aid or boards and beyond that was not tested for the first few semesters of school. So you could say that it was wasted time and knowledge that you spent doing the Anki reviews, and you just have to accept the fact that reviewing those old materials were not going to help you on your new exams. I think if I can go back now, I would recommend for you guys is to not, don't go all out in the beginning. That's what I would do. Study without Anki during your first exam of medical school. Maybe you can get used to make a few cards here and there, but don't just straight up go in and do like hundreds of cards a day from the pre-made decks. after the first exam, then you can go through the browser of the Anki list, the pre-made decks, and unsuspend the relevant cards that you've learned for the first exam. And I think a lot of these will either be like farm cards or micro cards. And any relevant information that you feel like, oh, I want to store this in my long-term memory, and do the reviews with those cards. And that's going to be way less than if you weren't doing hundreds of new cards a day the entire time. You have like 600, 700, 800 reviews every single day, maybe even thousands. So this method will help keep your reviews count down, and you spend less time reviewing daily, and you can focus more on your new material. I would not freak out and worry about having to keep up with all the review contents for now when you're starting medical school, when you're starting your first exam. And this is coming from a religious Anki user. I'm letting you know, you're not really missing out anything. Don't have that fear of missing out. Don't have fear of not maturing Anki. While Anki is like great, and I love this tool for long-term reviews and just retaining what you've learned for the 2 years, there's actually a trade-off. You know, you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit of your time to review those cards. It might, your grades might take a hit. You know, I was never like in fear of failing or anything in my medical school. I still did pretty decent. I just never aced my exam. I aced my first exam in medical school, but all the other exams after that, it's just straight up, you know, like B's and possibly C+. But I was never worried about having to fail my exam. So, you know, if you're not worried about that, you can just go balls to the walls, heavy Anki user. If I could go back, would I still use Anki? Yes, 100%. I believe that Anki is a great tool, and I probably wouldn't have passed medical school without it. Let me say this, is that during our last term of school, where we had like practice exam, like the CCSE before I was actual step 1, before our dedicated started, we have to at least practice like cumulative, like over the whole year. They call NBMEs, where, you know, it's supposed to, you know, mimic step 1, and it's supposed to like cover all the stuff we learned for the past 2 years. I remember that term, a lot of my classmates were all really stressed out because they were like, oh my gosh, you have to review for a few months and everything we learned for 2 years. And they were like freaking out and didn't know what resources to use. But I remember me and my fellow, you know, roommates, we were just like doing what we were doing for the past 2 years. Just doing Anki reviews every day. By that time, there was really nothing new that we were learning. Everything we've already seen. So we're just doing reviews every single day and doing practice questions at that time. And people came and said, how are you guys so calm? And I'm like, I don't know, like this, I'm just literally doing the exact same thing every day that I've been doing the past 2 years. And we did great in NBMEs. We weren't failing anything. We killed it. So that's, you know, that's when Anki shines. That's the moment where you can see how Anki is just so great. One more thing I want to say to, like, you know, all the new Anki user, or the one using it now, is that you don't have to use it the correct way to get the full benefits of Anki. If you don't want to, and just suspend your cards after every single exam, that's okay too. And just focus on the new content. You can always come back to those review cards later on. But I just think that this defeats the purpose of Anki and kind of wastes its awesome algorithm that's built into Anki in the first place. So you might as well, you're probably better off doing Quizlet, you know, with a better interface and everything. Just one last thing is that just make your resources work for you. And that's what I have for you guys for this video, guys. If you guys like this, you guys find it useful, give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this. Put in the comments any tips or tricks you have for using Anki or how it helps you, so that other fellow students know. Put it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, it's your boy Tim.